Oh,
can you see it
oh,
on
cool.
camera?
I'm fine if you see it on camera. I just didn't know where it was coming from.
That would have been pretty. Guys,
we're here.
Welcome back to the Game of Thrones review exclusively on Only Stupid Answers Patreon. Good morning.
Good morning.
Bright and early.
Holy shit, a lot of shit happened last night, but we'll get into that in just a second. We're about to review season 7, episode 4, the
Spoils of War.
That's the one.
Yeah. The Queen's Justice.
The Queen's
Episode
Revenge.
Game of Thrones 64.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy tits. A lot of stuff happened last night, but before we go any further.
Not a lot of tits, though.
Not a lot of tits.
They've dialed it back on they're like, maybe we don't, if we're able to have the giant dragon battles, maybe we can dial it back on the tits just a little bit.
I don't know. After that Grey Worm Missandei scene from before.
That was intense.
That was spicy.
That was.
Wouldn't want to watch that.
Oh, they made a joke. They made a joke about they were like, what's going on? And then they cut away. I'm like, I would have liked more of what they were going to talk about. Yeah, that would have been funny. Anyway.
Little lady talk.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, classic. Sam's going to review or recap.
Yes, because what happened. Sam is now through season 3.
Yes.
Yay!
Game of Thrones.
I watched so much over the past 3 weeks.
And
doing great.
So he's catching up, but he's still not completely there. So we always like to hear his take on the episode.
I now recognize a lot of shit that people are saying, like the Chaos Ladder one-liner. All right.
I like that scene a lot.
All right, take the golden run. Hey, it's Tyrion's friend. Why he know with Tyrion? It's Bronn?
Bronn.
And I was like, later on I write that he probably turned on Tyrion. I'm not going to be happy when that scene happens because I like Bronn so far in season 3. Cool, paying back the bank, sexy fantasy talk. My favorite part of fantasy is banking. I miss Jaime's early 2000s haircut. Isn't it bad to pay off all your debt at once, right? I'm not gonna pretend I know how a bank works. Cool, the map is done. How's the basement lady doing, you think? Oh, the one that got kissed, the one who got smooched. Bran now has a knife. I don't like that. I don't like that because of how fucking creepy he's being so far.
It's creepy.
Dickfinger should shut the fuck up. Sansa and Tyrion are still married. I don't know. That's from where I'm at. So I was like, oh, I thought about that in this episode. Shouldn't Bronn know where the sword came from? Shouldn't he know like everything?
Shouldn't Bran?
Bran, that's what I mean. Sorry. Oh, you're gonna have to correct me on a lot of these names. They've just been shoved into my brain. But yeah, shouldn't he know everything? Forever about everything. Chaos is a ladder. Haha, I know what that is. It's that sister from blonde British boy in season 3. That's the one who's escorting Bran. And I was like, I know where you are, and I'm guessing a lot of other people die around you. And then I wrote, I couldn't put emojis of the clap in my notes, but I just wanted to write, Bran is a dick. Because he was like, I don't need you. I'm not Bran anymore. I'm a fucking little dick.
That was rough.
Spoilers, everyone dies for Bran. Where's his little bro? I now know where the little bro is because I haven't watched that episode yet.
Jojen.
Excited to see this magical cave that definitely I haven't seen pictures of like years ago on Twitter. The cave where he even got his powers or where he tried to get his like legs back or whatever.
Oh, that's real weird to see.
Arya, she came home. Don't fuck with Arya.
Don't fuck with Arya. Don't fuck with Arya.
And I wrote, cool.
God, I love it.
It was cool. Cool kung fu powers when she fights Brienne, and I was like, this is fucking dope. This is really cool. But in battle, stop flipping around and maybe just use your sword. I kept writing, do your Scooby-Doo trick. Looked like Tyrion or Samuel L. Jackson, and then I wrote if that's racist or not, if they did that on the show.
I don't know.
These two should actually keep an eye on Arya. Spoke too soon. Oh, the guards. And then immediately she ran away because that's how shows work. I wish, when Sansa's saying, oh, I know where she is, I wish she said, she's right here, and then ripped off the mask. And I wrote, ooh, reunion. How do people recognize when people recognize other people without looking at them in TV shows? Because when Sansa walked in, Arya's like, I knew you'd be here, but didn't look at her. She just knew that her robe sounded like Sansa. I thought that was bullshit. You got your weird hug. You got a Joffrey shout out. Arya is a serial killer because she writes down who she wants to kill.
Very true.
And then I wrote weird fucking laughs because they're like, I have a list. And they're like,
Arya is queen of weird fucking.
Yeah,
You'll see that happen time and again.
That seems like a running gag this season where I was like, I've got a list of people killed, and people around are like, oh, that's hilarious, little girl.
And then she murders
and she
everybody.
just laughs.
Oh wait, that did happen with Ed Sheeran.
With Ed Sheeran. but my favorite bit is Maisie Williams has become such an amazing actress, and just the look on her face of like, oh, are we laughing now? Sure. Sure, all right.
And we're laughing now.
It's great.
My next note, spoiler alert, Bran is a fucking weirdo, and he'll probably mention the time you watch your dad die or something. Took them 7 years to come up with a wheelchair. I wrote that down. Bran is being a weirdo with he's being a weirdo with a knife. And I remember, do you remember those kids in school that would like, check it out, man, I got a knife collection. I'm like, man, we're in history class, please put your knives away. That is definitely a thing. Or kids who like, they're like, look, my dad bought me a butterfly knife. And I'm like, please stop playing with it. That's what Bran feels like.
I honestly thought, because you very much get the impression that Bran knows what's up with Littlefinger, and if everybody else found out what was up with Littlefinger back in earlier seasons, that basically all this is his fault, that he would definitely be on Arya's list. So I thought he would bring out the knife, like, because they were talking about the list, and so I thought it had to do like, hey, you know who should be on your list, you know?
Oh, Bran's not dropping any knowledge.
He's not. He's keeping it to himself, and there's just a lot of looks of like, I know something. And
I wonder if that's like a time loop thing. Like you can't mess with, you know, like maybe you can't say anything.
For Sam, that scene when he leaves the tree is very emotional.
When he leaves the tree. I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I'm probably
very emotional because of timey-wimey.
Have you seen my doorstop?
Yeah.
Oh, there's spoilers in Trisha's house.
Secret spoilers in Trisha's house. See if you can find them all.
Brienne and Podrick, I gave that a exclamation point because I really like. You mentioned Podrick last week, and now Podrick is here, and I really like him.
I like that.
Actually, my favorite scene was that very short, right after Brienne sees Arya, and she's like, "Oh, they're here," and Podrick's like, "You did," and she's like, "I didn't do anything." She's like, "I'm not." Thank you, Podrick. It's like, that's beautiful. I just want to take that scene and just put it in my pocket.
This is why I like Brienne and Podrick.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Brienne's the best.
Then I wrote, ooh, lame, dirty talking, because that's when they brought up the, like, ooh, Grey Worm or whatever.
Many things.
Yeah. And when John says he doesn't to show him, I wish he was towing away a chunk of the island. And then it sounded like the Jurassic Park theme song for a second. And I wish that John had showed real dinosaurs instead of some rocks.
That's what the show needs is dinosaurs now.
Is that spiral important? Is that spiral?
Actually, it is.
Yeah, because it's spiral because of like dead horses.
And I have a theory about that we'll get into later.
Cool. Then we go there.
Can't wait to hear that.
Tyrion fucked up. Jon and Dany teaming up. I'm really excited about that. So if you have dragons but can't use them, what do you do then? We figure out when the end of the episode answers that question. I wrote Podrick and his big ding dong on the throne 2K17. That's the title of the episode. Brienne versus Arya, that's great.
Wouldn't that be a twist? Podrick fucking takes it. The whole thing.
Everyone likes him.
Podrick and his big old dick is one of my. I like Podrick, but his big dick is one of my least favorite running jokes of the show.
But is it that he has a huge dick,
or he just knows how to use it well? But where would the skill come from? Anyway,
I figure
his mouth.
Maybe.
No, but lack of experience is what I'm saying.
It has to, there were like 3 or 4 women in there. They had to. He's moving all over the place. For Arya and Brienne scene, I wrote that was that's all I wrote.
Don't snurf your water.
Yeah,
that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Then I wrote "kill Dickfinger." I write that a lot, so I'll just say it once. I know Miss Sandy now. I'm like, I know who that is, and I know who Grey Worm is. Also, is Essos the only other land on this planet? Is it just Westeros and Essos, and then you're
basically that we know of? That's all we see.
There's like Westeros, there's the mainland proper, and then there's like those foreign lands over there.
Yeah.
And then we never really go beyond that.
Yeah, it kind of bums me. Like, you get the whole history, they release the whole history of Westeros, and you're like, I want to learn so much. It really boils down to the Targaryens and the Starks and the lands we know. And it's like, is there not like a place where black people live? Like, I mean, are there no Asians in Westeros? Like,
we get different races.
but like even Miss Sandy's very much on the light skin side, and Grey Worm. So it's like, is there not like fucking like Africa? Like, come on, man.
Fantasy land.
Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me on this, guys at home. But I want to say a lot of the foreign lands, Sam and I were just talking about this before you got here. a lot of the foreign lands that Danny goes to and visits, I thought have many different color skins.
Oh, there's the one guy in season 2.
Yeah, the king of the magical rich land.
Yeah, I want to say that's where you find your different races.
Yeah. Then we have Theon showing up again, and I was like, is this going to be with one of those weird scenes where like people in TV shows just shake hands and move on from it? But I was like, no, okay.
I really liked Yanks and man,
it was deserved.
Yes, very much so.
I wrote Jamie isn't a total prick anymore because that's comparing it to season 3, and I really like Jamie. He's probably gonna die because nothing good ever happened.
Season 3, Jamie is best.
Yeah, he was.
Is
really
that
good.
Jamie and Brienne?
Yeah, it was great. That was that's what. You know what? I did gasp because I was like, it's coming. And I'm like, this would be the time to do it. And even though it happened, I was like,
did you get to the hot tub scene?
Yes. Yeah.
That's like one of my
It's a great scene.
It's good. It's really good for his character.
When we got to the horses are coming, Dothraki whole thing, when someone kept yelling spears and shields, in my head, I was like, grab a gun. I'm like, wait, that's not what the show is. What a fucking idiot. And also, I thought when clouds came, I was like, big twist. I thought it was
the White Walkers.
White Walkers, but like, no, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
That
then
would have been surprising.
That would have been shocking.
Super far south.
Then they go back to Winterfell. Actually, the White Walkers already went through and killed fucking everybody. Yeah.
Time jump.
A little time jump. I said, not one of King's Landing's men has a bow and fucking arrow, and I was like, oh, doesn't matter, they got a dragon. I was like, oop, nothing fucking matters. And basically, then from here, it's just rewriting, oh fuck, ooh fuck, they fucking killed him.
Fucking run.
Yeah, when he's standing in front staring at a dragon fucking flying at him.
That's all we were doing on my couch too. We were all going, just fucking run. Yeah. This is the moment when you run.
I said, don't kill the fucking dragon. I said, ooh, shit, can you see his brother? I'm basically Jamie and Tyrion together. I was like, oh, that would have been cool. I said, oh, I used to like this guy. And I wrote this in a British accent. He's a right fucker, isn't he? Because he cut the horse's leg off, and I was
fuck.
And I'm like, ooh, that's easy. I don't like this guy anymore. Ooh, I don't like this. I know it's war,
that one Dothraki person that we just met this episode.
Yeah, no, not him. I didn't. Bronn.
He didn't cut the horse's leg.
Huh?
No, it was the Dothraki guy that cut his horse's leg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bronn's okay then. He's still a dick, but
no, that was actually a really good showcase of like Dothraki warfare versus Western.
We never really gotten, because last time we were really with Dothraki in force, the show didn't have the budget for that. So this is the first time we really got to see them tear shit up, and you're like, this is a nightmare. If you're on the other, because we start that fight on the perspective of the other side, it's like, this is a nightmare. That's
what the Dothraki are. That's why when Cersei's like, she brought the Dothraki here. You know, they like rape and pillage. And they're a goddamn nightmare. I mean, she's not
wrong. Also, their swords are fucking dope. And then I said, Jamie, don't be dumb. That's when he's running towards the dragon that's down. And I said, then I finally had to write, holy shit, so much is happening right now. I said, fuck, the horses again? Fuck, it's fucking fading to black. Great episode. Because the fucking horses got cooked. I'm like, I get a little sensitive when you cook your horses. Anyways,
things got barbecued.
A lot of people got barbecued.
Ash. That was my favorite scene was that little scene with Bran and Podrick. The moment that is in my brain is when the horses are coming through and like a horse steps on a person that's Ash.
Yeah. It's like, oops, they're gone.
Jeez, oops, they're gone forever. Those people will not become whites. Because they're gone forever.
But cranking it back to the top of the episode, Littlefinger gives Bran his little dagger.
Yes.
For reasons. What do you guys think about this scene? Bran being a robot and being. If he didn't talk anymore, I'd be fine with it.
I'm kind of I'm getting on board with it just because of nobody's treating it like it's okay, and it adds it. Arguably, Sansa and Arya are in better, more mature places, more like they have.
Still very different people.
Still very different people, but they've grown a lot and become. And so it's interesting to have a dynamic where one of the Starks is like none of the rest of them really know how to deal with him or talk to him or like because he's not really a person anymore.
Which is kind of shitty. I still want him to be a person. I'm upset they made that choice for the show.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm upset with it. In like a character death, I'm upset because I like the character, but as a creative choice, for example, things happen to John that he's come back from. That's like, shouldn't you be a little bit different because of that? And he's basically still just John. It's cool to see a character irrevocably changed.
I mean, he was brooding a lot already.
Well, he's already brooding.
Yeah.
Season 1, he's already brooding.
I know. So how much more brooding can you
right.
get?
John hasn't really changed.
But it's I think it's an interesting.
That's a fair point.
And I'm wondering if it's not. If this is going to be Bran forever, if this is kind of an arc that they're building from where he learns how to be, at least pretend to be a person. Because Arya's basically pretending to be a person.
Yeah, she's a weapon.
She's a weapon that's pretending that's like.
I love her so much.
She's so good.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Maisie Williams is so good.
I really like Sansa and Arya, even though their scene was awkward. It was really awkward.
They fucking hated each other.
Yeah, and now they're like, you guys are all you have left. But then they're like, well, Bran's here, and then you had just a weird.
But you could kind of hear it. You could kind of hear it in Arya's voice when she was like, "John left you in charge." Like you could hear that she was still like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I like, and I think it's true to this show that not everybody's great right after. It's going to take them a minute to really relearn each other and everything. But one thing I liked about the knife scene is when Bran looks, because Littlefinger's always like, I know everything that's going on. So that moment where Bran looked him in the eye. And he's like, chaos is a ladder. It just felt like a bitch slap.
Okay, remind me what chaos is a ladder means.
When did Littlefinger say that to him?
You just watched it.
Yeah, I did. So it's Varys and Littlefinger in the throne room. They're talking about it. And Varys...
So there's literally zero way Bran could have ever known that.
Yeah, I mean, unless it happened again, because a lot of shit gets repeated, especially in season 7.
The one, I don't think that's the only time it brings up chaos is a ladder.
Does Varys say it to Littlefinger? Does
Littlefinger says to Varys.
Says it to Varys, and it's the one time where I'm like, okay, Varys isn't as bad as I initially felt he was in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah,
he's still a piece of shit, and like he's still like playing the game and whatever. But it's like in that scene, I was like, okay, I really don't like Dickfinger, but Varys is becoming a little bit better. But he's talking about how he thrives in chaos and like in death and
so that was just Bran straight up being like, I know you.
I know the shit you've done.
Well, and it's interesting because you find out as the show goes on, a lot of the awful things that have happened to the Starks were sometimes inadvertently, but pretty much orchestrated by Littlefinger and his machinations. Like he did not intend Ned to die, but Ned's death is directly a result of Littlefinger's bullshit. So I'll be interested to see if that information gets shared with Arya.
I definitely intended Ned to die, because then I think he was like, "Whoop!"
Well, at least I assumed that it was probably classic Littlefinger where he's like, Ned dies fine, but or if he goes to the wall, also fine.
Yeah.
Either way, he's out of my hair.
Right.
Then we had Arya and Brienne battling. I feel like you guys, fans of the show probably were wetting their pants.
It was great. I fucking loved it.
I did like that scene was really great because Brienne's great and seeing how bad, and it ends with both of them smiling at each other. It's like you just expect Wonder Woman to come in like, I like fighting too, and like they all start fighting with each other. But when she's like, who taught you that? And she's like, no one. Which
that was good.
Well,
you didn't like it?
Wasn't it Syrio that taught her that?
I wrote
all the tricks she used. Weren't those Syrio tricks?
But
did the faceless guy? Did we ever see them other than the times that she was beating the shit out with a stick?
Blind fighting.
I guess so.
Yeah,
you're right.
I feel like she trained a lot more there. But you're right. Syrio taught her like the basics.
Come on.
No, wait. Go back in the day though, where Syrio, who maybe dies, whatever theory you ascribe to. But at that point, she was still so young.
Yeah.
Like she was not anywhere near the fighter then that she is now. So you have to assume that she learned that in the time since then.
And also, like, it's basically a game of Where's Waldo. Every time they mention a Valerian, the knife that was Valerian seal. Yeah, keep track of that. don't lose sight of the Valerian.
Yeah, who has them now? Brienne has one.
Brienne has one.
Now Arya does.
Jamie has.
I thought Jamie gave his to Brienne.
He did, but he got Joffrey's. So he has one. Right. So Arya has one. John has one. Sam has one that he got from his dad.
Yep.
Fuck his dad. Like his dad, like, hey, if we whip our own soldiers, they'll move faster. Oh, you need to fucking cool it.
Yeah. When Jamie Lannister has to tell you to be a nice person, you know you're bad.
You need to dial it back.
No, you've gone too far.
I think that's it.
Right?
For
the Valerian. I'd have to look.
Do you know why Valerian steel matters? You'll find out.
It kills White Walkers.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I figure if a piece of something that matters, it kills either dragons or White Walkers. Yeah. I did write when they're in the like dungeon or whatever. Sansa and Arya are talking. The crypt. It's a crypt, and they're talking, and they're like, "Oh, we have so many stories." And I wrote they should write a book about it, about their weird stories and how they got here. Wouldn't that be interesting? And then I tried to write a Ice and Fire joke, and I was like, I can't, shut the fuck up, Sam. Anyways,
I like that you're just trying to entertain yourself.
Why was Sansa acting weird about Arya's interactions with Brienne? She was staring and giving weird looks down at her while she was like, finishing the fight and being all chummy with Podrick and Brienne.
Why Sansa was giving the stink eye?
Yeah, we actually have a tweet about it. Tier F2104. What is your take on Sansa's reaction after Arya and Bran fight? Scared, puzzled, worried, or in shock of her skills? I was confused by watching inside the episode. They talked about it in a way that I thought was very interesting. But what's your...
My take on it was this harkens back to what Arya and Sansa always didn't like about each other as kids.
What's that?
Sansa, thinks the Stark ladies are raised to be ladies. They should be wearing dresses. They should be ruling as heads of the household. And Arya has never done that. Arya has always wanted to do her own thing. And I think this is just another Sansa kind of like, yes, there's fear intermixed with it, but I think more than anything, it's disappointment.
Interesting. The way
I think that she's disapproving of what her sister has become and kind of like in her heart disappointed.
Interesting.
So is she
the alternate take? Because I was kind of confused by that scene. The way they shot it didn't like.
When you have baby monitors, your children get demonized.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see me, but he's staring like, right into the camera, and his eyes are glowing from the infrared camera.
Like a baby White Walker at this very moment.
The way they talked about it was in terms of Sansa not really like Bran has become the three-eyed raven. Arya has become one of the assassin basically, and Sansa's looking at that like has my transformation. Have I finished my transformation? Who am I basically? What is my role? And I thought I didn't get that from watching the episode, but talking about that context, which I would kind of prefer, because what I got out of it was like kind of jealousy, and I'm like, Sansa should be past that shit. So I'm hoping it's more of a self-realization thing instead of jealousy, because it's like I don't want more jealousy.
And I don't think it's jealousy, because I don't think Sansa ever wanted to be a fighter.
Yeah.
I think Sansa looks at it and cannot relate to it. And that's why I say disappointment, because I think somewhere Sansa wants to reunite with Arya, wants those remaining Stark family members to be a thing again. And she's realizing through Bran and through Arya that everyone is so fucking different now.
That's what I got. And
I like that.
I got kind of fear though too, that like it was when
I can't knock my sister around anymore.
Or like more that because she like made the fucking awful joke about like, I have a list, I'm gonna kill a bunch of people, and they're like and then like this was like wait,
she realized
no, you're not fucking around, actually. You can take down, if you can take down Brienne, clearly.
And she says, like, who else is on your list? And she's like, most of them are dead already. Like I think Sansa's realizing, oh, you're a fucking serial killer. Cool.
So she thinks the Hound is dead, and the Hound was on her list. Trant is gone, Joffrey's gone, Cersei's still around. Who I don't remember her list. The Freys are gone. I think it's basically Cersei, isn't it? Is that all that's left?
I think it.
Not that we had our list memorized.
I think it's
and her list. Her list in the book is different than her list in the movie.
Interesting.
Or in the show.
And she really, I feel like, as far as I know, because I only have 3 seasons worth of knowledge, is that she would say it in her sleep. And the Hound, Cersei, Joffrey, Sansa was on the list. She initially said, and then there was, I think it was another guy, but I can't remember. Littlefinger was on the list, and I think that's why
Littlefinger on the list.
Yeah, I think Littlefinger is because he was up there when they killed Ned, and I think she wants to kill Ned because he was acting real weird around Arya.
If Arya murdered Littlefinger, I would love it so much. It made me so happy.
See, and just for the sake of the show, I don't want Littlefinger to die.
I want him.
He's so interesting. He's such a good player of the game.
I want a blender to be invented, and I want him to fall into this giant blender, and then they throw him over the wall. But that's pretty fun for the first chunk. Wait, what did you guys think overall? I just want for my opinion. What did you think of meeting the 3 Starks meeting at the same time? Or meeting for the first time in what? It's been like 7 years?
Yeah.
How does time work here? What is time like?
Roughly, rewatching, I think it's roughly the time we've been watching the show.
Yeah.
So it's been around at least 7 years. Possibly more.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. Figure Sansa's gotten married twice.
Yeah.
Ooh.
in that time, you know, like a lot's gone down.
And they talk about it in years, so like it's been years since, so it's not like something like Breaking Bad where it's kind of a condensed timeline. You know, it definitely like, well, especially now because it's like weeks and months are happening.
Like you snap your fingers and they're on the other side of the continent.
Yeah, like,
and we know from previous seasons how long it takes to travel.
Yeah, so at least like this episode alone at least covers a week of time at least.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because they start, not getting ahead of herself, the wagon train starts in
Highland or in Highgarden and it's in King's Landing.
They're by King's Landing.
Oh, that's what they. Oh, I didn't even say.
I was confused by that too. I tweeted out a question about it, and thank you to everyone who tweeted me back that was saying actually there's one line of dialogue where they're like, the gold is successfully inside the walls of King's Landing.
So yeah, and if you look at the map,
that's how you know.
And if you look at the map, Dragonstone is relatively close to King's Landing.
But Dragonstone
so that's how
is an island.
you were able to meet them there. Yeah, but I'm assuming.
So they'd have to get to the mainland and then go down to King's Landing. But yes, because it's kind of like where the Targaryens are, King's Landing, higher.
Because even for me, if they were able to get all the way down to high ground, I'm like, I'm not the one that is kind of bullshit. But when I rewatched it, I saw the line with King's Landing, like, oh, that's.
I feel like somebody could make a video or like an article like on IO9 or something about like the timeline of the show of this season, because if you say that, if that took them a long time to get down there, then actually it all gets fucking confusing, because I was like, it takes John a long time to get to Dany, but Dany found out then and then sent it. Oh, it gets really.
Well, the thing is,
I was like, does this all line up if like you kind of like try to like average it out?
I think the challenging thing, I just rewatched Lost City of Zed, which is a kind of a biopic. It follows real events, and like a lot of those, it just fucking trucks through time. Like we'll just jump over like 6 years or whatever. And I think Game of Thrones kind of moves on that movie logic, where it's just kind of like we're just jumping over. It sort of did, but it's as the show's gone on, it's relied on this more, where you just jump over time. The challenging is there's multiple timelines happening simultaneously, and I don't think they're meant to line up, because like days will happen over the plot line of King's Landing, whereas weeks will happen over, and eventually they all kind of converge. But within each episode, I don't think each storyline takes place over the same amount of time.
I agree.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So point of saying that is don't try and unwind it, because it'll drive you insane. Probably.
Try to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
Go back to figuring out that 8-year time jump in Spider-Man, and then figure it out.
Exactly.
That's more frustrating. But you mentioned the wagon train, and you have the Lannisters and Bronn making a good dick joke about this. I thought this throwaway character was just going to get like a crazy death. Or something like that. Yeah, Dickon. I love this laugh.
Let's just laughing at Dickon's name. By the way, Dickon is all jaw, man.
Yeah.
Like he's just all chin. He's
a handsome boy.
I thought it was a very interesting casting choice to make that Sam's brother.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Sam's brother? I didn't hear that part. No, you're fine.
No, and that's his dad. No, it's him.
You said it was his dad, and I just stayed quiet, and I was like, it's his dad. I knew his dad was a piece of shit, but I'll get there soon.
What did you guys think about? So they paid off their debts. Cersei paid off her debts. Who do we don't know who. Qyburns reached out to some sort of mercenary group. It sounds like the Golden something or others. Have we heard of them before? Are they new?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So when she's talking to Mycroft from Sherlock, who runs the Iron Bank. She's like, Qyburns reached out to the Golden. I'm sorry, I should have written down my notes. And he's like, oh, we've used them to collect debts before from people that have, yeah. And so there's some sort of, the implication is it's some sort of mercenary group, kind of like Danny's boy toy and his.
I would have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, I know, the Second Son.
The Second Son, thank you.
The bad guy from Deadpool. Yeah, that guy.
Honestly, I missed that guy. They have to replace the actor because he goes off to do movies. I liked him. I thought he was good. So I didn't know if we'd heard of them before. I didn't know if we had any, or if, like, should we be scared about these people? Probably.
Well, I'm excited to see that. Maybe I'm just a little too childish, but I don't need any more bank talk. But anyways, we also we bounce back to Dany and Jon, which does make me very happy, even though I'm still only 3 weeks into liking them. Also, screw you guys, because in season 3, there's a lot of really heartfelt moments between characters, especially between Robb and dead wife and with the baby, and also Brienne and Jamie, thank you. So many goddamn names. And also like Tyrion and Shay and just all these characters that I'm now liking a lot. And by the end of the season, everyone's fucking miserable and they're going to be happy again mid 4th season. And then they're going to be miserable again. All I know is I'm going to go through a lot of emotions before the end.
Yeah. You are?
I'm thinking, I started like tearing up. I'm like, hey, we're going for a walk. And I came back and watched 2 more episodes and I still got upset. But anyways.
I'm thinking of all the things you still have to discover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, also just a question back to season 3 really quick. In the end of season 2, you had the blue mouth bald people that stole the dragons. And then that little girl tries to kill Danny with the ball with the scorpion in it. Yeah. And that little girl like disappears and she hisses at him. No. Same thing, right? Same magic person. Cool. Yeah. Just needed that. I could have asked that later, but I didn't. Dragonstone. We're back to it. They go into this little cave with all these the drawings on the wall and whatnot. Yeah. What do you guys think about this? There's a history of all people being together.
Yeah. So you don't know anything about the Children of the Forest.
Yeah, no, but
I basically the closest thing Game of Thrones gets to elves. Like they were here first, and them and men started fighting, and things happened. No spoilers for Sam.
No spoilers for Sam.
Well, but I did not catch this. I was like, oh, cool, scribbles on the wall, like whatever.
I didn't catch it either.
But watching them talking about the inside the episode, a lot of those designs you've seen when the White Walkers murder a bunch of people, they like to arrange them in patterns.
Oh.
And some of those patterns show up on the wall.
I know. I thought that was very cool.
Is that the horse spiral thing?
Yeah. Oh. Here's my theory. Here's my thought. We know that the wall has deep magic in it that's keeping out the White Walkers from just knocking the motherfucker down, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the reason they're doing that is to create, I don't know if this is Game of Thrones magic, but typically in fantasy fiction, magic is associated with runes. Yeah. I'm wondering if those runes are there to start chipping away at the magic of the wall, like these little like things that they're leaving to like slowly just weaken the defense a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mayhaps.
Yeah.
That'd be very cool.
I don't know who we'd ask about it. The White Walkers aren't very chatty.
I feel like that might be because, no spoilers for Sam, but because of that thing, I'm wondering if perhaps it's just like, because we don't know what their zombie brains are capable of thinking of, that it's just something that's so ingrained in them that that's just habitually what they do.
Yeah, we just like, hey, let's arrange body parts in a pattern.
It was
like you do,
but it is a cool tie-in to connect everything. I thought that was really neat.
And it was cool that they somehow used a blue crayon to draw on the eyes of the White Walker, and it lasted there for
I thought that too. I'm like,
okay,
I get like red dye on stuff because you can find that in nature. Where did they get that ice blue dye?
Yeah, I'm like, is that dragon something about?
I'm gonna go get the 4th member of this.
Do it! Yay!
He's got a lot to
Let's talk about how they use crayons on that wall.
Let's talk about a little bit about season 3 before.
Okay.
Comes back.
You had an awesome moment where Sam took out a White Walker and then he turned into ice.
That's what we first learned about Dragonglass.
Yes, which I was like
matters now.
Which when they found it buried under the rock, and I was like, okay, so when Sam gonna kill it, he's killing the White Walker now. Castor took too long to die. I was just like, kill the motherfucker. Stop.
That was
the guy who like raped his daughters. And had babies and threw them.
Season 3, they don't. That's season 4. I think they go after the mutineers. They didn't. The mutiny happened in Craster's Keep. But they haven't done anything about it at this point.
No, and that was like the Night Watch freaking out, and they killed really cool. They killed Jorah's. Yeah. Close. Sorry, there's a lot. I've taken in a lot of names.
Yeah.
I'm already bad with names, and this has been a lot to remember.
Jorah's dad.
And
he's so cool.
He is really cool.
That actor showed up in Wonder Woman. He was one of the generals.
Yeah, that's why I love it. I was like, cool, little crossover. But that was pretty cool. There's so much shit that happened. But Bran and Jamie were the highlight for me for the season. Yeah. It was really cool. Also, Rob felt like he wasn't doing a lot for a while, like in that season. Like he was doing stuff, but he lost. And so it's like just waiting for him. Like he can't really regain his forces unless he fucked up. He married somebody that he wasn't supposed to.
It's tough. Like it was funny when they were talking about in this episode, like, oh, we've lost 2 brothers. And it's like, and to be fair, both those brothers were kind of idiots. like I liked Rob, but if you look back on it, he's kind of a dummy, you know. Like
watching it, so I'm watching it very condensed. Yeah. But I'm still watching everything. But when Rob gets crowned to like King of the North, everyone's basically in this mindset of like, fuck it, you know. They're not like picking somebody that's a good leader. They were just like, well, you're here and you got the same name, and you're a man, not a woman. So it's like,
gotta get that right.
Yeah, and it's like, so Rob, and you're like, and even Rob's not like. proud about it. He's just like, he's not like a military genius or anything. He's a pretty good leader.
Yeah.
At one point,
I mean, he starts kicking. He wins. He pulls a reverse Danny, where Danny like lost most of her initial battles.
Yeah.
Until this episode, Rob like won all of his until he didn't. Yeah. Until he didn't.
Filch was gross. I mean, I have to pull up an episode guide because I can't remember a goddamn thing that like happened in there. But just checking that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because I had to.
Also, Danny's not doing shit that's important to the show until later when everything starts coming together. She's just building her army.
She's kind of waiting around a lot for. Actually, I think season 3 is one of her best storylines.
It's cool, and
like after that, it becomes a lot of like.
Oh, don't tell me that.
I'm
getting into it.
Yeah.
Like even season 2 had a lot of waiting around before they got into this.
Season 2's rough. Season 2, I think, is her weakest.
Yeah. Good.
For her plot lines, I think season 1 and season 3 are really good for her. Season 1's probably her best because she has a clear like arc.
Yeah. 3 was good because she has that cool moment where she like burns the slave trader and it's a big revolt, and you get the bad Deadpool man.
Yeah.
Francis.
Yeah, Francis. Great. Yeah, that's Francis. His name in the show in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Francis. Like I wouldn't put it past them. They have other weird names. The Night's Watch. I'm reading the episode guide really quick. The climb. It was really cool when they climbed the wall.
Yeah.
And you had Dwight from the English office there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. This is fun. And also, we had that guy from The Witch. I didn't tell you about that, but like you knew.
Yeah.
The guy from The Witch was in it, the father, which is cool. Jamie's whole scene where he talks them out of killing Brienne or raping her, and then his hand cut off. It was real rough. I actually screamed.
Hello.
Talking people out of rape is always good.
Yeah.
Hi. What'd you think?
So I watched the whole episode because I stayed up too late last night.
Me too. He's so cute. Yeah. But anyway, so we were talking about Dragonstone and the big reveal, and you had another awesome moment between John and Danny. We have a tweet here from Rachel McLeod at Binge Mac. DJ, you want to?
Yeah, best episode of season for me. What do you think of Danny's sudden trust in John? She kind of just left him alone at Dragonstone. But she had her people were there.
And also, she's got a flying thing. She can be back pretty quick. Like,
yeah,
it's not...
of all the people, theoretically, she could be back the quickest.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's for later in the discussion. Joel Villegas.
There's been a couple seeds of like, you should trust this guy throughout. So I feel like she's just kind of starting to get.
There's definitely some tension, but there's definitely an understanding that they're basically on the same page. I am glad when she's like, I will help you fight the White Walkers. I'm like, this feels a little easy. If you bend the knee, there it is.
There's the
there
butt.
It is.
There's always a butt.
Do you guys ship John and Danny together from Joel Villegas at Joelville?
No,
I do. I don't.
I
feel like it's going to happen.
I'm all about it.
But I would much rather it be a marriage of like political alliance because you said you felt this when we were talking about it earlier. I did not feel the sexual tension.
Here's the thing. I don't feel it in like a.
It's not a Johnny Grit way. It's not a.
Grit.
Yeah.
It's not a Danny and Dario way.
I never really felt it with them, except maybe the first guy.
Oh come on! 3. That scene where she's like, "Take off your clothes," and you just see real nice man. But
I never really bought that.
Oh, except for the first guy you said.
The first guy,
first guy,
which is why
she had way better sexual attention than the
Although
first guy.
Second guy is Orphan Black. He's from Orphan Black.
Oh, cool.
His baby daddy.
Oh, that's where he went.
So he's really cool. I like that actor. He didn't have the same charm. Okay. But I do. But I don't. I like it because it is so low key. It's kind of this whole like power, proximity, youth, attractiveness. But it's not. I don't think it'll ever be, and I don't think it should be kind of like a sweeping romance type thing. I think they're both beyond that. It's more like this works. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. I feel like it's an alliance.
Yeah.
And if there's a marriage, a political alliance, then it's okay.
Yeah.
You agree, Logan?
Yeah. He's all about it.
He's got a lot of politics on his brain. But do we when we finish that conversation, where did we land? Where do we land with them like bending the knee or alliances or whatnot?
We haven't. We're still thinking about it. I think the resolution of that is hey, here's the solution. Yeah, you marry me and then it'll be fine. I do wonder if that's the case, I'm on board with it. I'm all on board. I've come over any obstacles I had. However, they seem, based on what the show's revealed, they are probably related. And I don't know how you justify that to the kids at home, to the general audiences.
That doesn't bug me at all.
It does not.
Like,
it doesn't
every
bug
time
me.
you bring it up, I'm like, Targaryens just marry each other. It's
yeah,
cool.
I know, and it's not like they're. It's not like they're directly related. Like, it's not technically incest, you know. But
it definitely is. Technically,
but we have that. We have that. Like, we have.
Logan doesn't like incest.
We have that justification. I did wonder. So much attention has been paid to Jon's parentage that could Dany not be the daughter of the Mad King? That she's still a Targaryen, but perhaps her parentage isn't what we think it is. So maybe there's more distance than we anticipate.
If you dump all that in this season, I'm really gonna stop. I'm gonna start losing it. There's already a lot happening.
I think it's an interesting question to raise, but I don't know that we have any evidence that supports
it. There is definitely not any evidence to support it. It would definitely be like an out of left field situation.
Yeah.
Do you think? Wow. I feel like we just missed something that happened in the cave, like a finishing conversation piece. But based on how fast the show is going so far, I'd be like, if there is going to be like a love interest type thing, next episode, Jon's going to jump in front of like a flying spear or something like that. He's like, I just saved Dany.
Question. Not that they necessarily need to end up with anybody, but if they don't end up with each other, who would they end up with?
It's 2017.
Yeah.
It's not in that show.
Not in this magical place.
Yeah.
No, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anyone else I would prefer for either of them.
Yeah, because it's like I could have seen it in a different world, Jon with Marjorie, but that's not going to happen.
You just like that because you like them both.
I do. Well, I mean, at this point, we're kind of down to all characters I like, but one of the reasons I like to see Jon and Dany together is I think they complement each other well. They overcome each other's shortcomings.
Their scenes are great.
Their scenes are great.
Not just because of the characters, like they're good.
I also love their supporting cast, and I love seeing like Davos' crush on Missandei. Like I love that. I eat that shit up, man.
That whole scene with Missandei
he's so good.
And Davos and Jon, and they're like, we chose her.
Yeah. He likes him too.
Yeah. How can you not like Davos? Learn how to read.
So like Jon could end up with Missandei maybe, but like who else? Like there's nobody really around for Dany to like. No. And she's gonna have to marry. Other than Tyrion.
I mean, I like Tyrion.
Yeah.
Tyrion's fine. I don't know. I still don't have enough seasons to make a full opinion on it. I'm just like, or to have my proper fan cast. But you guys let us know. Yeah. Who would you want them to marry?
I think you're right. There's not any other solid options at the moment.
Amit at James Stark plays. How mad would you be if Theon turned out to be Azor Ahai because of how much he seemed to just weasel out of death? Maybe he has a prophecy.
No way. I would flip this table.
Is Azor
Ahai is just a prophecy dude that we don't know. That's the prince who was promised, right?
The prince who was promised.
It's all the same thing. So it's some theoretically, it's the theoretical person that's supposed to defeat the White Walkers. And we found out it could be the princess that is promised.
Could be.
Anyway, I just thought that was
translation things.
Let's talk about the fun stuff. Because
you titled it "Holy Shit, Dany Nuked Everyone."
Yeah, Sam doesn't have context for this, but they totally hard-honed us. Where it was like, "Hey, the episode's happening. Oh, wait a second, shit's hitting the fan." Like, it's not, and I love like we're joking about Dickon's name, and then Bronn stops, and we're like, we were just talking about people shitting themselves. Did you feel awkward for a second? And then he's like, "Oh, listen," and you hear the horses, and you're like, "This is what we've been."
Now, this show does this really well because, Sam, you just finished season 3. So, like, same thing. Red Wedding. Oh, everyone's talking. There's some cool character moments. All of a sudden, The Reigns of Castamere starts playing. You're like, oh, fucking shit.
Oh, no.
Okay, so that song played and Catelyn looked up, and I was like, fuck, that song's important, but I don't know what it is. Anyways, yeah, so the build up to this scene was awesome because also it took them a long time to get over that hill when they did that reveal. Was awesome. Like, they were end to end of the horizon that those were all Dothraki and they went on forever. So you're going to die.
One of the things that I think this is up there for me with some of their best battle scenes like Blackwater and the Battle of the Wall. And it doesn't have something as epic, especially production-wise, as Battle of the Bastards was. It didn't have the same like that was the closest the show's ever gotten to like good guys are on this side, bad guys are on this side, and you kind of know how it's going to play out.
Right.
Where this is one of those like on the one side you have Jaime and Bronn, who we both really like, and then you have Dany and Tyrion on the other side, and you're kind of like, I want Danny's team to win, but I don't want anything to happen to Jamie and Braun. And so you're really conflicted. And because you're from Jamie and Braun's perspective, you see how much of a, like, the way they described it after the episode was like, what if you had an F-15? It was a medieval battle, but one side had an F-15.
Mm-hmm. Well, they happen to have one of those giant fucking crossbows in the back seat of one of their cars.
Like, that's a little convenient. When did they say that they brought that?
They didn't. I assumed that like they're probably just taking that with them now in case a dragon shows up.
I mean, if the invasion of Highgarden, because we didn't see it, just happened and it's over, and which is kind of a bummer thinking about it now. But like that makes sense if they brought it. Like if who's evil scientist man who brought the money back to Kyburn. So it makes sense that he would have sent that with him. If he invented it, he'd be like, no, take one with you, because Highgarden we know is aligned with Danny, and that would have made sense that maybe a dragon would have been there. So that's not bad. But last week I said it would have been really cool if like Cersei or somebody or Dickfinger got speared by one of those arrows, and they already did it. They just did it to a random Dothraki guy.
That's another thing I really like with they're good in those battles to set up like a mini boss. Like somebody that's just like in the battle at the wall, there's that one Fen that like doesn't really matter, but he's tearing it up enough, and then he starts fighting Jon that you realize like, okay, this is kind of the guy. Like, so that guy starts tearing shit up to chase after Bronn. It's like, okay, so this is kind of our mini boss in this battle.
That's a good way to think of it. Absolutely.
And he got a fucking arrow to the chest. And it's what it took to take him out. I loved everything about this. I loved all of it. I loved when the Dothraki were getting up on their horses and like shooting arrows. And like, oh my goodness! And she's blown. Like the Dothraki already come with horses. We've seen in previous battles how much horses tip the battle in that person's favor. And then Danny comes in and nukes the line, just obliterates. So there's a giant hole in their line that the Dothraki can just get through. It's like there's nothing. You're done. You're just done. The battle's over. You're done.
But I think they showed that in the very beginning when you saw like the Lannister men like shaking.
Yeah.
Like they did a good job of setting up like, oh, they know they're so fucked.
Well, and
they know they're so fucked.
Oh yeah.
They could do a good job of like theoretically these are our bad guys, but when you see the guy shaking with his spear, like you really just like. For me, I would imagine myself as this guy, and I'm like, well, this is it. Yeah,
and the moment when Tyrion's like looking at the battlefield, because those are all his men, really. Like those are all the Lannister men he grew up with.
Yeah,
he probably knows the majority of those people just getting torched.
Yeah,
like grew up with them. I thought that was a really neat layer for them to add in.
I'm really glad that they did that. You're absolutely right. And also liked that he has the Dothraki guy, not really intentionally doing, but basically taunting him like, hey, your guys suck at fighting. It's like, listen, dude, I'm having a moment. You need to, I know I'm on this side now, but like, come on.
Yeah.
And then he's able to spot Jaime on the field. Like I really liked as epic as it was, because this has to be at least one of the most epic battles they've ever staged.
It's the first dragon battle we've seen.
But the emotions that are in there, I think, are really like, because you just see Jaime just the whole time like, well, I guess I'm gonna get these guys with their arrows. That didn't work. Oh, jeez. Like the whole
he has
time.
Nothing.
He's just like, I can't. What do I do now? I don't even know. You know what I mean?
He even told them. I think he told like the archers to run maybe for a second. But he's like, doesn't matter. Like I think they took out. That's when they turned to ash, and you're like,
yeah. You literally see them like Pompeii, like gathered together, just a pile of ash. And like, well,
and as much as Tyrion is on the Targaryen side, the only Lannister that he even kind of likes is his brother.
Yeah.
Like that's got it. Like when he's like, run.
Yeah,
that was
you run, you idiot.
That's the most conflicted I've ever been in a battle scene. Period. I've been like, what if everyone died and we just moved on with our lives?
Thought going into this episode, I was like, a dragon's gonna bite it. I even tweeted it out before it started. I was like, a dragon's gonna bite it. And as soon as the battle started and it was the Dothraki, I was like, oh, this is where Jaime dies. This is where Jaime dies. For sure, we're losing a dragon and Jaime, and damn if we came close to both.
Well, this was the clips of in the trailer that had Jaime with the lance. That's what made me feel like, oh, this is where Jaime ends. And times during this fight, there was moments when we're following Bronn. I'm like, Bronn's dead, man. Like this is the moment we lose Bronn.
If anyone, Bronn should have died.
And then they like swiveled from that, and then it's like, are we gonna lose Jaime? Like I can't. Like you start doing the calculations in your head, like could they, or is his story done? Like what's because you just felt it. You felt like this is it.
Well, and Jaime, okay, so that last shot of Jaime, we know that ambiguous deaths in Game of Thrones usually mean the person's still alive.
Yes.
Like you need to see them get beheaded or something to believe that they're dead. But he's sinking in a full suit of armor.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't appear that anyone else is around him to see the location of where he's sinking to swim down and get him.
Yeah.
So even though it's ambiguous,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're going to come back from that.
I'm assuming that we're going to cut back to him being in a cell in Dragonstone, and it's just like, wait, hold on.
Or like he's going
underwater, taking off his armor,
maybe. But I really like the idea of both Braun, because Braun's the one that jumps off, which badass as hell, man, jumping off the horse.
Okay, when he jumps off the horse and takes him underwater just before the dragon fire hits, I was like, dude deserves high guard.
Yeah, dude, he earned it.
Give him high guard.
So now theoretically, because
come on.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Also, Braun doesn't rock the same amount of armor that Jamie does, so maybe Braun is able to.
Braun does not have the full armor.
I want to bring that up really quick. Terry F2104, which is Terry funny shout out, but on Reddit he writes, "Yeah, I freeze framing the armor doesn't match the full plate Dickon was wearing. It's Braun. He's definitely going to be Dragon Chow. Sad. No, he was in the water.
Yeah,
so
he both jumped in the water.
But that means he's got more like mobility.
So maybe he saved Jamie, but I would not be surprised if they end up as prisoners of Dragonstone. And I like that because it's going to emphasize Tyrion in this episode.
We'll get another Tyrion Jamie scene, except for in a cell, but the other person's in prison.
Yeah, and it'll be like Tyrion, like the two people he cares about most are now prisoners. So like, where do his loyalties lie? Like, where does that
especially with Dany being so pissed at him right now.
And I'm wondering. Because
we almost killed one of her babies.
Yeah. Well, and we've got Braun kind of like dissatisfied with his deal with the Lannisters, and so it's like I would not be surprised if Braun tries to switch sides. I don't know why Dany would be cool with that.
He's a mercenary.
He's a mercenary,
and she takes everybody.
But he did shoot a giant arrow into
next week, and she's all.
I did.
Okay, you know what? Then I won't say anything. There's something in the sneak from next week that made me go, oh, I kind of hate that choice. But we'll see. Maybe it'll play out better in the episode.
So I'm, man, just so many.
They probably switch out the actors for Braun in mid-episode, don't they?
Yeah,
they actually switch out the actor for Dany.
It's Ed Screen or whatever his name is from
Deadpool.
Yeah, Screen. Yeah.
Oh, got it.
Is that funny?
Thank you for laughing at my bad joke.
So.
You wrote, what lessons will both sides learn from this battle?
Well, because they pull out the scorpion. So now Dany knows that her dragons can be injured.
Yep.
So I feel like that's an opening for them to be like, hey, maybe we should get, because I know fans for a long time have been like, these 3 people are going to ride the dragons.
Yeah.
Like, so is this where we teach other people how to like ride and use the dragons? Because Dany can't be always the one. Like, good for her for being in the fray with her dudes. Big risk. It's a big risk.
Oh, you mean like the other people that we think are going to be the other people?
Yeah.
I was saying no, like she's not going to teach random army leaders.
No, not random people, but like
John right there.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
I don't know that
he's too new.
I don't know that it's going to happen in the battle for King's Landing.
Yeah.
But I think for sure it's going to have to happen before the battle with the White Walkers.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to fight alongside me as a co-general, get on his fucking dragon.
Yeah. I also wonder the reverse because, okay, so we were able to get the scorpion out, which by the way, Braun looks so badass, like wheeling that thing around and getting ready to go. It
also doesn't go as far as it was advertised. It was advertised to go through a skull, which is pretty thick, and barely went into a shoulder.
And the skull it went through was super old.
True, yeah.
You know?
So does Cersei and Qyburn start playing around with different ideas now that they've seen it work, but maybe they could make it work better? Or do they just do more?
Okay, so
do they just like line the Red Keep's walls with that stuff and be like, go to town?
Maybe.
So I had a dumb fan theory, and I won't say it. I had a dumb fan theory of how you make those arrows even more badass if you were to shoot. Okay, so bear with me.
Okay.
In How to Train Your Dragon, dragons are fireproof except for on the inside. Their organs aren't fireproof, just their skin. It's an armor.
I don't know if that makes sense if they're shooting fire out of their mouth.
It doesn't make sense that it comes out.
Or you put no, it doesn't.
Okay.
I was gonna say you put some what's the green stuff?
Wildfire.
Wildfire. If you put it like a bulb or something at the end of the arrow, and when you went inside, you saw a dragon explode. That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing a dragon explode. I mean, I'd be sad, but if you wanted a dragon to go out,
Logan has lots of thoughts.
He loves How to Train Your Dragon.
He's all about it.
Let me know how bad that idea is in the comments down below.
Speaking of dragons, these things are called Wubbanubs, this like passy with a stuffed animal attached, and they need a dragon one. So if anybody knows where I can buy a dragon Wubbanub,
let us know.
Let us know. We got a couple more tweets.
Yeah,
here.
we do have a couple more tweets.
Jake Sarmazian at J Sarmazian. Shout out. Hopefully your mic's working, man. Who else was sad that there was no Sam Poop soup scene this episode, man?
Oh, no editing.
I've never been more sad. I've never been more sad. Look at how sad it is. I'm so sad.
It's so sad.
But I did miss it a little bit.
Yeah.
By the end, I was like, oh.
I don't know. I felt like the cool editing this episode was the battle. I was okay with it.
Yeah.
I guess it's the trade-off is poop or a big dragon battle. I'm like, I could take it.
By the way, if you haven't already, they have on HBO now, they have the making of a scene about the whole battle, and it's just super fascinating. All the stuff that went into.
I thought you said poop scene. I was like, I got it.
went into making that
how
battle.
The poop gets made.
And it's so like the second time I was watching it, I was like, this had to have been a nightmare with all the fire and everything. This had to have been a nightmare to shoot, and it was. Mad props to this show for the stuff they're able to do for TV, and like it's not TV, it's HBO. Charlotte Sullivan.
Hashtag ad.
Charlotte Sullivan at Charmander. There's only 3 episodes left. Do you guys think John will ever find out his true lineage?
Yes, Bran.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably that will be the last thing that happens this season. Like he'll come back to. Like
the North,
the North, and Bran will be like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big moment. I think it's going to be like, but you should be the rightful ruler as a Stark, blah, blah, blah. And Bran's going to have some kind of like, not even looking at him off in the distance, like, but you're not really a Stark.
Yeah.
Like it's just somehow going to get dropped.
Oh, there was that moment where they were like, why are you still a Snow or something like that. They kind of mentioned, like, I think I wrote it down in my notes. I just didn't read it, but it was like, there might be a chance he could change his name to Jon Stark or something like that. It didn't. I've watched season 3 and watching this episode was around the same time.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil stuff for you, but
you'll learn about that.
But I do know in the trailer there were shots of Jon in what looked like beyond the wall, like clothes, like dressed really warmly. I have a feeling the last episode is going to be big fight at the wall. The White Walkers getting past the wall. Like that's gonna be our big oh shit, they got past the wall.
Cool.
That'd be cool. I'm down with that.
Very, very cool. Well, guys, this was a crazy fucking episode.
By the way, also apparently one of the shortest ones they've ever done, shockingly.
How long was it?
I don't know. People were talking about it. It was happening in 10 minutes. I just heard people talking about how it was like runtime wise actually one of the shortest episodes.
Very interesting. I don't mind when they do the shorter ones because then sometimes they do the longer ones, and I would rather them end the episode at the appropriate moment for the story and tell the story the best than try to fit it in an hour time slot.
Unlike FX from 2 years ago, where like every one of their shows ran for about an hour and a half. It was like, this could have been an hour. You're fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell the story the way it needs to be told. The only thing I really didn't like about this episode is that this was my fear for this season. Now that we have 2 half seasons left, that they're going to be like, oh man, we got a lot of stuff to get through and only this amount of episodes. So who cares about timeline? We're going to speed travel and we're going to just make shit happen and make shit happen. And I know a lot of people are really excited that stuff is finally happening because we have had to wait so long for some of the storylines, but I kind of miss it. I feel like stuff is happening a little bit too quickly and we are getting glimmers of those character moments, but I would love to see more of that. But for me, I'm also the type of person that consumes content and will watch the 6-hour-long director's cut of something, not because it makes the movie better, but just because I want more of it. So for me, I want more Game of Thrones. I could have watched Sansa and Arya catch up in the crypt for an hour and a half. I'm a little disappointed that I feel like we're moving too quickly, but I know not everyone feels that way. But for any of you who also feel like that, I'm with you.
Trisha's on the same boat. I totally get that because especially it's moving quicker, especially compared to like season 1. Comparing it to the last 2 seasons, I think they finally figured out post-book pacing. Like you can feel this real, like seasons 5 and 6, there's real this like, now that we're past the books or getting past the books, it's like, when do things happen? How do we? And I think they finally figured out like this is how we do stuff now that we don't have a book.
Well, and the last couple books are really slow.
Yeah.
So if they're following closely to the books, which they weren't, they were pretty deviated by that point. But if they're following the pacing of the books, it's like Arya's gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Dany's doing shit you don't care about for a long time.
Well, and in season 6, you have this weird like you have moments that took.
Tyrion disappears for a book and a half. Like
why?
That's what you say when you're reading.
Yeah, you're like, Sand Sisters? You mentioned that. I'm gonna pretend like I'm in on it.
Yeah.
They'll probably pop up in the next season.
Sand snakes.
Sand snakes. Sand. What did I say?
Sand Sisters. It's not inaccurate.
Yeah, they're sisters. But I actually kind of felt the same that the battle. Oh yay, he's smiling.
He's giving us the poop we missed from that poop scene.
Yay! We're not missing out. We're not missing out because we didn't miss it. What was I gonna say? Oh, I actually felt the same way that the battle kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like, I'm happy that it's happening. That this dragon battle's happening, but I'm like, couldn't we have gotten like just one like extra mention that battle is going to happen?
Well, she also didn't follow Tyrion's advice, and she didn't follow Jon's advice. She asked for them both, and then was like,
That's not technically true. She did follow Jon's advice, because what she was saying was that she wanted to go straight up to the Red Keep and nuke all King's Landing, and so she which would involve civilians and all that. So she's still these are soldiers, these are warriors. So she's kind of like splitting the difference.
Okay.
Oh, he's so cute. Sorry, Logan's so cute. Yeah. He just made this review 10 times better.
Don't be a distraction, but
no, he's the best.
You're being so good.
He's being super
But on that note, I think we're winding down. Any final thoughts on this episode, or what you're looking forward to? Because you watched the preview. Did you watch the preview?
I didn't know. I did not.
I watched the preview.
I never watched the preview.
You watch previews.
Yeah, I like going cold.
And are you excited, or are you a little hesitant of next week?
I feel like they didn't show us anything in the previews that I didn't see coming. There was one thing in it that, like I mentioned before, that I was not super thrilled with, but maybe it'll play out better. Recasting. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see who it's going to be. Maybe it'll be like what was that joke?
Who would you cast? You're right. Real fun into the episode. Who would you recast as Daenerys if you had to recast it?
Susan Sarandon.
There
Give her a blonde wig.
Do you just have the hots for Susan Sarandon?
I mean, who doesn't?
She's on the new episode of Rick and Morty, and it popped in my head the fastest.
Okay.
So
you should watch Feud. It's amazing.
We'll watch Feud. Guys, when we watch Feud, just make sure you, before you watch that, go ahead and like and comment down below on this video and let us know what you thought on our Patreon. And make sure you click up in there. You can go check out our Patreon and other stuff. Click on Logan over there, and also you'll find Trisha's channel and all that other fun stuff.
Yep.
Also check out our YouTube channel, because we put up the little like snippets of this episode, and more stuff's going to come there, which is very exciting. And if you haven't listened to it yet, we have a brand new episode out of the regular podcast, which you can find on onlystupidanswers.com and all other podcasting formats. We do a very cool interview with Sam Humphries, which is awesome. Comic book writer, very nice man. And we talk about a little bit, spoiler-free, Voltron Season 3, which is a lot of fun. All these new shows. Yeah. Having so much fun.
All for you.
And guys, we're doing some very fun for the Defenders. Just teasing. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Say thank you to Logan in the comments.
See you later.
Bye.